After the laws about childbirth and purification, Leviticus 13 turns to a detailed and sobering subject: laws concerning skin diseases, infections, and surface defilements. At first glance, it may seem medical or even strange, but beneath its detail lies a powerful spiritual truth. Sin is like disease. It spreads, it defiles, and it separates. In ancient Israel, these laws were vital not only for health but for holiness. Disease, decay, and corruption symbolized the presence of sin in a fallen world. God's instructions were given to protect the camp, preserve worship, and remind his people of their constant need for purity. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "When anyone has a swelling or rash or shiny spot on their skin that may become a defiling disease, they must be brought to Aaron the priest or to one of his sons who is a priest." Notice that the case was not taken to a doctor but to a priest, because this was not merely a matter of health but of holiness. The priest stood as a mediator, discerning between the clean and the unclean, between what could stay and what must be set apart. The priest was to examine the sore carefully, looking for changes in color, hair, depth, and spread. If the infection was superficial, the person would be quarantined for 7 days, re-examined, and declared clean if it had not spread. But if the infection deepened or spread, the person was pronounced unclean and separated from the camp. This process might sound severe, but it reveals something profound about the nature of sin. Sin often begins small, like a spot, a swelling, a subtle irritation. But if left unchecked, it grows deeper, spreading through the soul and affecting others. Just as leprosy numbed the skin, sin dulls the conscience. For the Israelites, being declared unclean meant separation, not condemnation, but isolation for the sake of restoration. The person lived outside the camp until healing or cleansing came. They were to wear torn clothes, leave their hair unkempt, cover the lower part of their face, and cry out, "Unclean, unclean," wherever they went. It was a painful, humiliating condition, a living picture of the separation that sin causes between man and God. The camp symbolized God's presence. To be outside was to be distant from his fellowship. The chapter also addressed different kinds of defilement: infections on the head or beard, boils, burns, or mold on garments. Each had its own signs and required careful priestly inspection. Even clothes infected with mildew or mold had to be washed, quarantined, or destroyed. In every case, the priest's duty was to discern the truth and preserve the holiness of the community. The key lesson was this: holiness demands vigilance. Just as infection must be spotted early and dealt with thoroughly, so must sin in the life of God's people. What the priest did physically, Christ does spiritually. He is our great high priest who examines our hearts, exposes the hidden spots of sin, and declares us clean through his blood. When he touched the leper in the Gospels, he did what no other priest could do. He cleansed by contact, not by separation. His holiness did not become defiled, rather his purity made the unclean clean. Leviticus 13 teaches us that God is not indifferent to corruption. He calls us to self-examination and repentance, to be aware of the spiritual diseases that can dull our love, cloud our discernment, or isolate us from his presence. Yet it also reveals his mercy, because every diagnosis of uncleanness was meant to prepare the way for cleansing in the next chapter. The spiritual message is timeless. Sin must be confessed, not concealed. It must be brought before our high priest, not hidden in the camp. Only through his examination and his touch can we be restored to fellowship. Leviticus 13 reminds us that holiness is not harsh, but is healing. The same God who separates the unclean does so to make them whole again. Next comes Leviticus 14, where we'll see the beautiful process of cleansing and restoration for those who have been healed, showing God's power to restore the outcast back to his dwelling.